So this is my climate impact presentation. I'm doing on polar bears and ice depreciation in the Arctic. So here's my intro. Polar bears fall under the group of species that is heavily affected by impacts of climate change, and this is seen in many different facets of their lives. Polar bears are finding it more difficult to hunt, breed, and mate, and many speculate that with increased temperatures, ice melting will only accelerate, diminishing the population even further. Here's my first slide, temperature and sea ice. Temperature in the Arctic are increasing 4 times as fast as the global average, and Arctic sea ice has declined since 1980 or 79. These two graphs right here display the overall decline in extent and volume over the past 4 decades, and there's been a very notable decrease. And then polar bears rely heavily on ice ecosystems to survive in almost every aspect of their lives. So as ice continues to melt at an accelerated rate, polar bears will find it harder to hunt and reproduce, which are the two big ones. Choose. They acquire around 2/3 of their food for a calendar year in the spring, when prey is most available and prevalent, and they don't eat nearly as much in the fall or winter as prey is hard to come by. So as the climate warms, sea ice is melting earlier in the spring, causing later winters, thus they have a shorter window to hunt and have to travel further and less time for sustenance. Essentially, winters are being shortened, so they have less time to find food when it's easily available. These long distances traveled cause unnecessary strain on their bodies and cause them to lose crucial weight as they need to survive. You can see these two. So basically, the distances they travel and the amount of food they're consuming um, are not like up to par with one another. This is mainly caused by ice fragmentation, which is impacting the distance polar bears can travel, which also causes subpopulations to be isolated in densely populated areas, which increases the competition for prey, which is another issue. And then bear cubs also cannot travel very far distances with very little food, so this also is impacting their reproductive cycle. So here are the large shifts in behavior. They're relying more heavily on whale, sea duck eggs, and reindeer and other foods as seals become less available, which hasn't been seen before. And they're being forced on land more. So they're spending a lot more time on land, sometimes up to 2 months, which is highly irregular because 4 decades ago in the 80s, they were spending only a couple weeks on land. And the percentage of bears spending summer months on land has spiked from 5% in 1980 to 50% today. Polar bears are currently classified as vulnerable by the IUCN, and this article estimates that there is a 70% chance that 1/3 of the global population of polar bears will fall in the next 35 years. Multiple countries have signed a circumpolar action plan to help preserve polar bear subpopulations, which is a good start. But the most important thing is to focus on greenhouse gas emissions and reducing them to help stabilize Arctic ice, to hopefully stabilize decreasing subpopulations of polar bears